Oh, look at that car. My club, that's gonna be my car.
Yeah, nigga, that same rusty ass car 15 years from now.
Hey AMIIBOs, today we're going to make Mimifed version of Dragonair. It is so cool to actually show you guys how I make my Mimifed versions of various different Pokemon. This is definitely my favorite series of all time. I love anything Mimifed. I remember making my first Mimifed version of Ditto and I absolutely loved it. So if you want to see my whole gallery of Mimifed Pokemon, they are on my Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So make sure you guys follow those as well. Last week's giveaway winner will be announced at the end of the video, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Alright guys, let's get this started. So of course you grab your polymer clay. I happen to use Super Sculpting. I find it a lot easier to work with and it tends to keep a lot of its details as well. Now at the beginning I used pliers to kind of make a cone shape, and I even used a wooden block to make it easier when it comes to sculpting. So you do have various options that you can use. If you find a simpler way, definitely show me on my Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. And if you happen to make your own Mimifed version, I would love to actually see it as well. Make sure you actually draw out the triangles, and if you need to thin it out, I definitely highly recommend that you thin it out. It tends to get really thick if you just leave it alone. So that's why I went back in and I actually carved out the triangles once more, just to make sure that it's not super thick and I have room for his bottom feet. I guess you can call it feet. This is pretty much the first beginning step. When you do have his body, it is actually time to go ahead and make the head. So with the head, I actually began to add small portions of clay just to make sure that the proportions were correct. I highly recommend that you double check once in a while to make sure that the size is perfect. The head tends to be as big as the body, so keep that in mind. Although Mimikyu's style is a lot different, for Dragonair specifically, her head is actually like a fox in a sense. So I did add that little area for the nose and the mouth. I thought it'd be pretty cute. So of course the reason why I do like Mimifed versions is because you can practically do whatever you want. But make sure that you put pins when you're attaching pretty much any of the limbs. You want to make sure that you do that so the durability of the Mimifed Pokemon is everlasting, and you can maybe throw this and hopefully it won't break. Alright, so if you're not making Dragonair, this is pretty much what every Mimikyu will start off with, which is the head and the body. Alright guys, so the rest of the video is me practically making Dragonair into a Mimifed version, so that's why I grabbed some beads. Of course, if you're making a totally different Pokemon, then this video won't apply to you as much. However, the painting portion might, so you can skip ahead to that, or you can also go ahead and skip to the giveaway winner. But if you continue watching and you're making your own Mimifed version, I highly suggest that you go to your local craft store and you find a lot of materials that you can possibly use instead of clay. The reason why is because that Mimikyu will definitely pop once you use different materials. Like I said, that's why I use the beads, and instead of making a round circle with clay, it pretty much looks like a gem. So you kind of want to think in the aspects of Little Big Planet and how they have buttons and they're knitted, and it's just materials that are used daily around the house, and it's really cute to just let your imagination run wild. So if you do make any Mimifed versions of any Pokemon, or even Mimikyu, or even any amiibo, send me pictures at Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. I would love to see it. Once you're done adding your amazing details to this cute amiibo, it is time to finish it off by making the legs, or I guess the main body of Mimikyu. Pretty much it's the same first step that we did at the beginning of this video. You're going to, instead of making random triangles, draw it in between the ones that you see above. So make sure that you guys take your time with this one and map it out as well. You don't want to cut unless you're sure of the proportions and the accuracy. And once you are done, go ahead and cut it out with an X-Acto. If you use an X-Acto, guys, like I always say, please be careful. It is very sharp. Alright, we're pretty much in the last stages of the clay portion. Once your clay is hardened via air drying or even a blowtorch, it's time to glue pretty much all the pieces together. So make sure if you're gluing all the pieces together that you wait till the glue is fully dried before you release that tension, and afterwards, when everything is cured, go ahead and paint your amiibo. So this is the final stage of customizing any amiibo, and it's my favorite part. It is time to add all your details with paint. So when it comes to painting, make sure that you prime your base first, and then afterwards go in with the darker colors. I find that a lot easier. So when I paint any Mimikyu, it's actually me starting off with its legs, but I find it a lot easier to paint from the bottom going up and painting with black first. I add in all my shading with black, and then I start adding a lot of highlights using the base colors. So for this particular Mimifed Mimikyu Pokemon, it is Dragonair, and her base color is of course blue. So if you do happen to want to add any other materials, I tend to add those materials last. It is so hard to paint around gems, feathers, beads, and etc. It's just difficult, so why put yourself through the trouble? Have fun. This is my favorite part of any customization, and if you mess up, you can always go back in with the colored paint. And yeah, this is the last bit of painting and customizing, and I've made so many Mimikyus in the past 2 years. It is pretty ridiculous, but I absolutely love this series. I've had so much fun, and I think it's because I've allowed myself to be creative and not have to follow a certain guideline when it comes to being accurate. This is really just me having fun, and I feel like sometimes you need that in life, where it's just, you don't want to be told what to do and you don't want to be told what to make. So this is my freedom. Alright guys, so it is time to announce the winner of last week's giveaway. I'm going to be making their Mimikyu Mimifed Pokemon. I loved reading everyone's comments, and trust me, I've read everyone's comments, and it was so cool to see your guys' opinions. But of course, there's only one winner, and the winner of course is 𝘚𝘧𝘧𝘪𝘐𝘚. Thank you so much. Make sure you email me at 𝘚𝘧𝘧𝘪𝘐𝑠tore@gmail.com. I appreciate everyone's entries. It was so cool to read. There will be more giveaways, especially on my Twitter very soon. I have a couple of cool amiibos to give away. But overall, thank you so much again for the support, guys. I do appreciate it. I love every single one of you guys, and I hope to see you all next time.